Hi and welcome, Joe here at willycottage.com. Sorry this video is a little bit late to get uploaded. There are some reasons, and it's to do with the neighbours and DIY and decorating and noise. I did film this video last week using the same method as what we're going to do today, but YouTube lost the video, so I've gone past destruction. So I've been trying to film this video since Sunday to redo the video, but I'm having to outwit. It's currently 7:30 in the morning, so I can film this video to get out to you. So this will be in two parts, so bear with me. I do apologise. Nightmare when you've got two lots of neighbours that are constantly doing DIY. Right. Okay, so what it is, I had a little message from Hilly, and she woke up one morning or one night, said, I've got these coloured ideas in my head, blah blah blah. And I'm like, fine. I says, well, this is what I see, this, that and the other. And I suggested it was like a daisy picture, and I'll put it up on the screen because I'm sure she won't mind me pinching it. And so it was like this pink daisies, and I could see the pink, but I thought, well, too much pink looks really babyish. And then there was green in the background, which was fine, but there was also this vignette of like a dusky egg blue. And I said to her, well, I would put this, if I was putting it together, I would either do a pink gradient, but I would put a little bit of white, a little bit of duck egg blue over the top of it, like as highlight colours. Maybe, I don't know, thinking now, maybe with some silk in that colour, or some plant-based fibre that was hand dyed, like in a soft teal green or teal blue, or using pops of colours from hand dyed mulberry silk, noil, that sort of thing. You know where I'm going with that. And I said, alternatively, you can use the dusky blue hue as your base layer, and had pops of different colours of pinks on top of it, and hand paint on the back. And she's like, well, I always think that might actually make it look like it's it'll brown out, or like it will smudge in together. And I was like, well, not if you're really quite delicate about it. I could understand if you were. There's a lot of, one of my pet hates is seeing fibre artists constantly using the back drum to put on separate colours onto the drum carder, especially if you're just going to spin it as a normal yarn. There's one thing that's always mentioned to me from customers, is that they like my bats because the fibres are blended in properly, and that's probably because the fibre supplier that they're buying from, the Indie Dyer and Blender, is hand painting on the back of the drum instead of just feeding it through. There are ways to get different colour techniques in your art bats, but that's ideal on the back drum if you're doing art yarn, where you want the colours to really pop out, and you don't mind that it's not being properly blended through on the drum carder, because it isn't really, it's not been diffused properly. It's not been, the fibres haven't been separated. What you're doing is actually hand carding on the back. You're putting blobs on, and it's not going through evenly. And don't get me wrong, that you can stand there and crank it through and hold it in place, but the bit that you started with is going to be a bit more lumpy than the rest of the fibres that you're carding through once you've got the control going, you know, the distribution. But my argument to that is, if you want to spin it as a normal wool, as an art bat into a yarn, or a carded bat into a yarn, like with a density like a DK weight or a lace weight or something like that, then doing that on the back's a bit pointless, because firstly, you're going to have to draft it a heck of a lot more to help diffuse the colours through, because you're going to get these lumpier sections, like these thicker sections of colour. So with the thinner yarn, but with the art yarn, that's the sort of thing that you're looking for. So what I thought I would do, what I've done on 2 different attempts now, is I'm recycling a bat that was on the website. So I've got 3 50-gram bats. So this one here, so there are bits of colours through it, but it has been blended through properly on the drum carder. So this one I'm going to do as an art yarn. Okay, so this is what it was like originally. So I'm doing that one as an art yarn because I just want to put some more stock on the shop. So I'm doing like 50 gram bats and stuff like that. Now what I'm doing is blending that up with some dark colours, some more pops of colours, but I'm hand painting on the back drum because I want to do an experiment. I'm going to do one of these as an art yarn and one of these as a hand spun wool to see if it becomes muddied. So this is the end result. Now the light's not brilliant in here. Let me see if I could get you over the other side. We'll go and pop round there and then you can see the colour, because I've used turquoise and teals in this and it's not quite as blue. It's not quite as blue. It's actually really like this aqua green in it. I don't know why I can't get a proper light on this, but that's not the colour it's supposed to be. You're not the droid I'm looking for. But yeah, this has got teals in it and more aqua colours blended onto this, but I don't know why. I don't know why I can't get its true colour. No, I have no idea. Excuse my dog. She's got the itches today. She just had her flea jabs on the other day. All I can hear is her snorting while she's sorting out her back leg. So yeah, this one I am now going to show you how I've done it and what I've done. And I've done it with a section of that bat that I'm about to recycle. So it'll be partially double carded, and on top of that I have got this duck egg blue, or dusky blue. Then I've got this jade. You can't see it. I don't know why. I'll see if I can sort something out in editing, but you should be able to see that as a jade green. Okay, and then you have got the teal blue. Don't know why that's not showing up as teal, as jade, but anyway, I'm going to add that on to this recycled bat, and then spin it as an art yarn today. See the results of that, and then the other one I'll go off and I'll just spin that as normal. I might do a little bit of prep video so you can see what I'm doing with it, but it won't be masses amount. I'll go off and spin it because you don't want to see me doing that because that gets boring. And then I need to knit up the swatches as well. I haven't had a chance to do that. I've a bit of an up and down week, guys, so bear with me. I've got the swatches of the percentage yarns that I did with the Haiku alpaca, so I need to get them knitted up. So once I've done this bat, spun it up in a normal yarn, I'll come back and show you the results of it, and then you can let me know what you think. I might actually even just spin this up as a normal yarn, and then you can see the difference before I've put the hand painting on, because that was carded through as normal as I would normally do it, and I've not hand painted on the back drum carder. So yeah, that's what I'll do, is I'll spin those two up. They'll take me a while to do. It'll take me a morning to get them done. And because of the copyright issues with YouTube, sitting and spinning, I'd have to talk over the top of it constantly or cut you short. So it makes sense just to go off, spin them off, because you all know how to do spinning. If you want me to do a spinning video, if you're new to spinning, let me know, and I will either point you in the right direction or I'll come up with a video. But I should be able to. We've probably got loads of videos on here about spinning anyway. But yeah, I digress. So we're just going to sort this bat out. So these are all weighed up about 50 grams, okay? So I am going to get my bat, and this is really good to do recycling of bats that you've got at home that you're not really that keen on, or you want to emphasize them a little bit more. And this is a perfect technique for doing art yarns. I mean, you could do an art yarn with that, not a problem at all. But what I'm trying to do is see if the rule of thumb is that if these colours are hand painted onto the back drum, will the colours become more blurred or browned, is what the term that some people use, more blurred throughout without any colour definition if hand spun as a normal DK weight yarn, for example? Or will you see the colours pop out more as an art yarn, which is what my point is when it comes to blending on your drum carder? So I'm quite literally, I've split into 3 sections, and I'm just putting a little half on at a time so that my drum carder becomes overwhelmed. So yeah, my synopsis is that it's actually pointless painting on the back of your drum card, unless that's really the look that you want and you're quite happy for it to be sections where you're finding the prep work or the spinning of it a bit laborious because you've got quite dense sections of colour from when it's been tucked on the back, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So I'm just going to split these into 3 sections so it's a bit more manageable. I'm not doing them lengthways, I'm doing them widthways, so I can just grab a couple of tufts with my hand. And then we've got this teal. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. And when I start, now, when you start to do this and you start getting your rhythm going on, you're blending. Can you see this already? You get these little tufts of fibre, which it's all well and good. I mean, it's fine. It isn't a massive problem. But if you want to spin consistent yarn, you don't want to have massive bits like this. But when you're spinning art yarn, it doesn't really matter because you want something that's going to have lots of texture in it anyway. But my point being is, it's not going to be blended properly, consistently all the way through. I'm going to go with the lighter. Oh, see, you can see the colour of it now. I wonder if you can see the colour of that back now. The light's just right. Let me see. No, you still can't see it. Honestly. Right, so these splotchy. Yeah, it's not even through. And I mean, that's fine. It's not a problem. I mean, at the end of the day, as I always say to you guys, there are no rules. It's what you want to do, but sometimes you just need to stick to the guidelines if you want specific types of wool. Okay, and the whole point of this is to prove a point that it doesn't always get mucky, or it can get mucky depending on the way that the fibre artist has blended it up for you. So I'm going on with the next section. Okay. Some fibre artists genuinely do this. They'll put their fibres on the front, or they'll just constantly be putting the fibres on the back of the drum, which means that when you get that back, you might actually find that you find it really hard to work with. So again, see, and that's the sort of technique that some people are using, which is lovely if you want to spin art yarn all the time. But if a felter's buying this product from you, then they're not going through the drafting process when they're working with the fibre. And what you also find is that you end up with lots of areas where it's the exact same colour blocks. Right, next one. This last piece here, and then we'll go off and get the spinning wheel out, and we'll art yarn spin this flat up. Okay, so back with the dark teal. Now I'm going to try and find areas where there's not much of that colour, which is a bit of faff, and there's no control over it. Oh, there goes my cardboard cloth on the back. I need to try and find some sections with the obvious colour. This is really quite. There we go. So it's a back that's been half carded and then hand painted the colours on the back, which is if you're looking for, that's fine, it's not a problem. but we'll figure this out towards the end. Right. Okay. Sorry about the beeping. That's delivery's coming already, and it's just come up for 8 o'clock now. I'm trying to get this video done. Right, so there is the results of that. Hopefully I can sort out the colour that you're seeing, because it's not that blue. So we're going to just pop that over here. It's exactly the same. I say exactly the same, but it is. It's exactly the same as the other one, been hand painted. So we're going to take this over to my art yarn spinning wheel, coarse spin it with some fibre. I've got some linen over there. We'll go and do that now, and then we'll play it up, and then we'll see what the results of this looks like afterwards, and then I will get back to you with a second part video in a couple of days, if not by the weekend, with the results of the next one. Okay, so I'm just going to quite literally, there's that blend that I've just done, I'm going to just rip it into half all the way down from top to bottom. I'm just going to tear this into strips so it's just a little bit easier to work with. There we go. So there's 1, 2, put them down there next to you, and then 3 and 4. There we go, put them there, and we've got this one piece. Okay, so I'm just going to shove that there a minute. I need some, I'm using this, it is an acrylic, 100% acrylic thread. I quite like it actually. I know I've got silver and I've got blues, Angelinas in this, but I think this will look really quite cool. And I'm in the mood for gold today, as you can see. I look very autumnal. Flaming summer, and we've got rain coming. It was supposed to be 18 degrees and full sunshine today. While the rest of the country get a heat wave, we've got flaming autumn. Oh well. Right, so I'm just going to push this down. So I'm using a Kromsky Fantasia. This is my very first spinning wheel I ever had. She doesn't get to come out to play very often, so I'm a bit neglectful of her. Yeah, she don't get out often. She really could do with getting paint stripped off her and sorted out, maybe stained, and a bit more love. I seem to have used and abused her over the years, but she works, she's good, and she's my art yarn spinning wheel. I do have the other fly for it, but I tend to just leave the art yarn bobbing on her all the time, so I'm not even going to bother drafting this fibre out. Okay, so let's get her going. Sometimes I just have to give her a bit of a tweak to get her going. Sometimes she just wants to, what's going on? Yeah, that on the back. Some days she's just not in the mood, so you have to bear with me a minute. She's like, yeah, I'm not having that today. I really don't want to spin. I don't want to play. I don't want to play today. Right, I'm just trying. Need to get her in the mood for spinning. She's like, you've been promising me since last week to spin and play on me. I'm like, yeah, I know. So let's see if we can get this going. Why is she being a menace? On a minute, let's go the other way. Right. Does anybody else have this problem? And all of a sudden your wheel doesn't want to play. Alright, let's go this direction. So we're just going to do straight on the thread. And can you see already these colour splotches? don't know why she's knocking. I think the feet are a bit too far out, but I'll sort that out as my rhythm goes. So we've got these colour sections coming now. Just make, if you're doing really chunky sections when you're doing, whether it's core spinning or thick and thin, just make sure you're adding a little bit of extra twist in there, okay? There we go. See there, a bit of extra twist. And coming in at a right angle just to get some really thick pieces, but I chop and change. Chop and change it, so thick and thin on the core, or you can just go straight down and get some nice thin sections like that. Now, you do have to be careful though, because your thread will catch if you let it too far down. I'm not sure why this is being noisy. There we go. We've got some nice big colour bits coming. I just want to spin that a bit more. Put the energy in it so it coils really quite nicely, hopefully. Sometimes you can get really good coils and you're like, how the heck did I do that? And you go to repeat it again and it just doesn't work the same. I just want to pull the tension down a little on this, I think. Right, let's push these little bits down a little bit more. Right. So I'm going to pop off and get this spun up, and then when I come to apply it I'll come back literally in the blink of an eye. I'm just going to put the next section on. These colour sections there we hand painted on the back. Okay, so there's some more colour section, try and grab that bit, pull it down a little bit more. Here's some more colour coming in. That's no trapped around the finger. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit so there's a bit more tension in this. I'm going to come down so I've got some thin sections. And you can see this block colour coming out from where we hand painted it on the back. And then we've got the diffused blended from the original bat. And then got more colour coming now. And that's what I'm saying as well. Look, when I'm pulling that off, see how those sections come off on their own, practically on their own, those hand painted sections, because they haven't really been carded and diffused into the back properly. When you're on the drum carder, they've just literally been painted in lumps on the back, hence it comes off really quickly and easier, especially for getting those colour sections. Whereas the parts that have been drum carded at least twice in the case for this one, you really do need to draft it a little bit better. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the bits that are hand painted, if you're not careful, they just practically come off on their own because they've not been combed in to the other fibre. There we go. So that's we got through 2 sections. Anyway, I'm going to go and I'll catch you in a minute. Okay, so I am now coming in at a 45-degree angle, or a right angle. I'm just loosening that off a little. I'm just going to let the yarn coil onto my acrylic again. Yep, I just need to turn that down a little. Just a second. I'm not sure why it's not feeding, so just bear with me a second. I'll try and figure this out again. Yeah, it should be feeding in, but it doesn't want to. There we go. And I'm just going to keep letting that coil on to the acrylic that I used originally, and you'll see the energy of the twist of from your original start to settle on there. And now we've got these block colours that we hand painted on starting to come out. There we go. And then we've got the diffused sections, which was from the original bat. Really pretty. A little hint of colours that I originally carded onto that original bat. And now there's little pops of the hand painted coming through. Here's a large coil, so I just want to hold on to that there. There we go. I use the top of my finger just to help balance out so it doesn't run away with itself, and it helps me to control the yarn because there's still quite a lot of energy that's been spun into it, and then we steam set this later on. I don't tend to wash my art yarns because I'm always a little bit afraid that they won't hold their structure after they've been spun. I know a lot of people do. I'm quite happy to steam set mine, and sometimes I do custom orders for people for art yarn, so I tend to spin, steam set, and then get out as soon as possible for the post. So washing, especially where I live, the weather's unpredictable. Washing is not always a viable option, so I find steaming my art yarns a lot quicker, a lot better and easier for working with these big chunky sections. There we go. So this bit, I quite like doing this bit. This is more enjoyable and quite relaxing to do. You have to catch where there's little bits of energy, it's a bit intense. I'm just going to push that down that way a bit more. You know, where you've put a lot of spin or twist into the drafted section when you're first working with the bat, or your roving, or whatever it is that you're working with, locks or I find you get sometimes a lot of energy that's stuck in there, so you just want to keep an eye on those, and if you see a bit, just slow down what you're doing and just help gently tug out where the energy is accumulated and it sort of bubbles up. So like I've got a section here, there we go, I've got a little section here and you can see it's really quite knotty. So that, see how that's twisting back and forth on itself, so that might give me a little bit of an issue in a minute. No, actually it's not too bad, but you'll see that fall out when you steam set it. So like that's trying to go over the back onto itself, so just gently pull it back, pinch it and get going again, and then you control that a little bit more with the thread bending over your finger, so it runs up your index finger like you can see I'm doing here. It just gives you a little bit more control, and just take your time, it's not a race. And another piece there. This is the hand painted on the back of the drum section colours. You can see how much bolder they are. In comparison to the actual bat that we reblended. And what I'll do is I think I'll actually, the bat that I've got left over from this, from blending up this, and instead of doing it as a normal ply, I think I will do it as a an art yarn again, to show you the difference with the hand, like just literally blending as you would do on your drum carder, or hand painting on the back drum, as in diffused colour wise, so you've got an idea of what you might actually be looking for yourself. Right, so I've got a lot of energy in this section here and I really need to keep an eye on this. Right, so I've got about half a bobbin left to do, so I'm going to go and pop off and do that, and then we will get this on the niddy noddy, get the steam out, and get this set. And so I'll catch you in a sec. I prefer to take it off, I think, sometimes so I can have a bit more control over it. Right, so there it is, look at it, all wonky donkey, lots of energy going on there, and I'm just going to run it through the steam kettle. Where energy is really stored up, you'll start to see it twist out. See that moving? Look at that already. That's over a little bit. Right, so I just, where it's all those knots are, I just give it a little bit of a gentle stretch and then get them back over the steam. And again, just gently tease them straight. Right, some other little straight in. That's nearly done. It's still got quite a lot of energy in there, but the rest of it's starting to look really quite nice and balanced. Hardly any twist left in that at all. Quickly run it through one more time, but I'm just going to do it like this now. Make sure any last bits have been moved and everything's settled. Yeah, I can't see any twist going on in that anymore. Right, turn that off and put it to one side. So, it's still got a little bit of energy going on in there, but that's fine. It could be to do with the acrylic that's in the yarn that I've used, but you can see that's the original back that we worked with, and that is from the colours or hand painting on the back of it. And you can see the light is not brilliant, but you can see where there's these blocks of colour all the way consistently all the way through the yarn because of the way it's been put on, in comparison to these more diffused sections with the odd bit popping through. So yeah, there's a lot more going on colour wise, colour blocking, in comparison to the other back, which I will do later on, and I'll show you the results of that on my next video in part 2. So yeah, so that's the results of that. I will go spin off the other piece that we haven't blended and hand painted. I'll spin that off exactly like this, so you can see the difference in the comparison. And the other art back that we did with the hand painted block colours on the back of the drum, I will spin as a normal yarn, so you can see whether that'll get diffused or not. And then you can come up with your own ideas. At the end of the day, I'm just here to guide you. I'm just here to advise you what I think is probably a good idea and what's not a good idea. And you've always just got to remember, not every fibre artist is either a lot of what I'm trying to say is a few fibre artists that I know of don't dye their own wools, but they blend them up on their bats, but they don't specifically blend their wools to do specific jobs. So when you order from them, you might find there's lots of pops of colours and everything else, and you have to really draft them out for when you're spinning a normal yarn. And that's why you might find that you don't like spinning with art bats in the past. But when you've got people like myself, there's me out there, there's a few others as well that spin knowing that you guys want a specific look and a specific style of yarn doing specific jobs. And that's why you have to really think about blending it properly. Especially if you're going to be hand painting on the back of your drum silks and plant-based fibres and stuff like that, you can easily run it through the liquor. I know sometimes they'll stick to the front liquor, but you can run them through, and you can do them in colour block sections if you want to. That's not a problem. But what you want to try and avoid, unless you're wanting it for art yarn, is to try and not use the back drum if possible for stuff like this. You can do it with your neps and that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that it's not handy to do the painting, but you've just got to think about the overall effect at the end of it and what you want that yarn for. As I say, there's a lot of fibre artists out there that do it because it looks pretty and that's what they like themselves, but they're not thinking about the actual fibre artist that needs it for spinning up lace weight or DK weight or whatever for a specific project where they want the yarn to look uniform in its spin. Okay, so there we go. So that's where we're at today. If you've got any questions or queries or anything like that, please do put them in the comments underneath, and I can use them towards like I did a couple of weeks ago, a little chat video where I'm doing something at the same time. It really does help me to create that. I'm not going to do Q&A as such, but if you've got any questions, thoughts or queries or ideas, or maybe prompts for me to use for a video after part 2 of this one, then please do put comments below. It really does help me come up with content that you guys really want me to do. But there we go. So I'm off. I will get the next part videoed up in the next couple of days and try and get that on by the weekend. Fingers crossed, if the neighbours aren't really noisy. Right, I'm going downstairs for a cup of coffee. It's 8:15 in the morning, and I've been up here since 7. Anyway, take care. Speak to you soon. Bye for now. Toodle pips.